There were captains of that team. And I'm going to ask those people to take a minute apiece, if they will, and address the audience. Steve, Michael, John.
Ladies and gentlemen, distinguished guests, Chancellor Mobley, Coach Titus, teammates, and my family, it is certainly an honor and a privilege to be inducted into the UMass Boston Hall of Fame this evening with my teammates. In 1968, I completed a tour of duty in Vietnam, and when I came home, I was a ship with a surplus of energy, but my navigation system needed some major adjustments. I found myself diving through picture windows from 2 stories with guns pointed at my head and running down endless dead-end streets, even though my parents tried desperately to have me change direction. Then one day, a friend of mine, a veteran himself, came to my apartment and talked to me about a newly created program at UMass Boston. It was called the Veterans Preparatory Program. This university wanted to get Vietnam veterans off the streets and into the classrooms. What a wonderful concept. It worked for me, but my friend who introduced me to the program died a violent death on those very streets. I was now enrolled in a great institution of learning. Then one day, walking near the gym, I saw a sign that said, UMass basketball tryouts this evening. I thought about it, never played any organized ball all schoolyard, and decided to go down to the garage, get some old shorts and sneakers out of the trunk of my car. When I got to the gym, I met Coach Titus. He was focused and passionate. He knew the game of basketball, but he also knew the game of life. He taught us schoolyard players how to play organized college basketball. How much patience do you think that took? I always believed that no team in the country ever worked harder than a Titus team. They could have worked as hard, but no way harder. Our nightly scrimmages against one another were tougher than the games themselves. Right, Scotty? The coach was very passionate about the game, but he cared very much about each and every one of us, and that is evident tonight, almost 40 years later. Our first year, 1974, I believe our record was 7 wins and 18 losses. Our second year, we were 22-1, losing only to Harvard at Harvard. We were blown out. The coach knew we had them one more time at home toward the end of the season. I remember that game like it was yesterday. The coach emphasized being poised, having patience, and focusing on all the hard work we did throughout the year, and we'll get them in the 4th quarter. We blew them out. I also remember in those years, it was the years of busing in Boston, the civil unrest, the urban instability. Our team comprised of 80% black and 20% white. When the gym at UMass was vandalized to put a halt to our basketball program, Coach arranged us to practice at Columbia Point. When we walked through the projects, my teammates would recommend that us white folks be placed in the middle of the group to protect us. And after one game, only one game, I mind you, we went to a pub in Dorchester. When we left the establishment, a group of thugs threw a bottle at us, crashing against the bricks above our head, and yelled many racial slurs. I actually tried to chase them down through the narrow alleyways and fenced-in yards, but failed. When I came back, I apologized to my teammates and blew. The captain, Mike Mitchell, looked at me and said that bottle didn't have a name on it. And when one of our teammates, Big Bird, Stephen D. Harris, passed away, we needed a police escort to the funeral home. You see, this team had one other thing in common. We're all colorblind. There's an old saying. If you don't think too good, don't think too much. But this institution provides the tools necessary for the graduates to evaluate information and make reasonable decisions. Therefore, anyone who graduates from this UMass system should think a lot. So to all my teammates, Blue, Ernie, Scotty, Gary, Hig, Coop, Jeff, Joey, Joe, Jim, and the rest of all you guys, it was an absolute privilege to have shared both the experiences of 38 years ago and tonight. Time has only been a comma in our relationship. And to you, Coach, who took the letter M in the word me and turned it upside down to transform the M to a W, which means we. As in your team, you're the best. To this great institution, to my family, my wonderful wife Cheryl, my sister Ann, who tutored me through critical times during college days and beyond. She also won 2 Division State 3 basketball championships. And to my daughter Ruth Ann, who is an alumnus of the university and played rugby, and to my stepdaughter Jenna, and to include my mom and dad who passed away, thank you so much for my rebuilt navigation system. Thank you.
And it is absolutely no possible way I can improve on what John just said. I just want to reiterate the fact that this team truly, as he said, is colorblind. We judge each other by the content of our character, not the color of our skin. We came together as a team through team sports and competition, and I think it was an example, particularly at the times, with all the racial strife that happened on Boston, that we were example for a lot of people. And I wanted you all to pay particular attention to that young man down at the end of the podium, Mr. Rodney Hughes, because he gave so much for this program here at UMass Boston. And thanks, Rodney. I was a young man growing up in the streets of Roxbury, and I was definitely, as most of you older folks will know, war, slipping into darkness. Charlie came to me about this vision he had, and this about us being pioneers and starting something. And I've been here for his ride to see his vision come to fruition, and it's exciting to see. So I'd like to thank Charlie for definitely helping all of us, my teammates, and UMass Boston State family. Let's keep this going.
I want to thank my Lord and Savior Jesus Christ, because without him, none of this would have been possible. Now, there was so much I wanted to say, but you're at 1 minute. 1 minute, what can I say in 1 minute? Well, listen, I'm very thankful for the UMass staff, the athletic staff, Charlie, Coach Titus, all my teammates. We had a lot of fun back in those days. And what John DeGette said, Mr. Wildland, and Mike Mitchell, it was a gas. And I'm very grateful for this honor. I've got some stories, but he might get the hook if I can see he's coughing. So that's the end of it. But thank you all very, very much for this.
I just want to just thank the Chancellor and Charlie and Rodney for what they've done. What I learned from UMass was a lot. Charlie didn't cut back in the day. He had to tap out. And that's like, he didn't cut anybody. You just had to tap out, and who we had, that's who we ran with. And sometimes we had 7 guys, sometimes we had 9 guys, sometimes we had 10. But that's the way we roll hard all the time when we play. And what I benefit from this was that I took all the stuff that Charlie gave us as far as running hard, not tapping out, and number 2, when the referees was letting us get thrown on the ground and we couldn't say a word, I took that to heart. I went into deck. I got a very successful career there. I became head of the chip packaging thing. I came back here to UMass. just to talk to Charlie again about some visions we had about a supercomputer. He was right there with me. He took me to the VDC. I met Bill, and behind all this, he's the chancellor. And now we're making a major deal with some major companies now. And I just want to just thank UMass for all that we have done. I want to thank the university for recognizing us. I want to thank my parents. My mother's no longer here, but my father's here. My aunt, who gave me $2,000 when I was 15 years old to go to Tom Sanders basketball camp. I still haven't forgotten from that. I haven't seen some of these guys in about 35 years. It's been a long time. And it just feels so good to come in just to see how everybody's doing. And I remember Coach Titus telling us when we first started playing back in '74 that this day would come. And he said you just had to have vision. And it came true. And I saw signs of it when we got the old gym. He had our pictures hanging up on the wall, each one of us. And I knew that he kept his word. And just for this night to happen, I just can't believe it. I'm just so happy that it has happened. And I'm happy to see the guys that I played with 35 years ago. Thank you.